الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, we start with our lesson number 28, and today is the 4th of Ramadan of the year 1445 of the Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. تفضل يا شيخ ابن منير. نعم.
أحسن الله إليكم. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. We start with ayah 30 from the Surah al-Baqarah. Forgot to open the tafsir.
لا بأس. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم غيب السماوات والأرض وأعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تكتمون. وإذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين. Since Ibn Munir is looking up the translation, let's take a benefit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, since the beginning of creation, when He created Adam, He said here, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. He taught Adam all the names. Yani it started with ilm, ya akhwa. It started with knowledge. Therefore, whatever you see on media from that, yani the beginning of mankind, they were ignorant and they couldn't speak, and the caveman and all of these imagined garbage that is being spread around nowadays, it's being spread because it sells, ya akhwa. People like this, they gain a lot of money when they make stuff like that. People are attracted to these things, so they make them. But we know from the first human being, it's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught them. Yani Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he was not, and his offspring, they were not ignorant people, cavemen and so on. La. They were knowledgeable, they were taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it all started with knowledge. They knew things and the names of things and so on, and we're going to read the tafsir regarding this. So, yani take this idea out of your head, the idea that is being yani propagated, yani this idea that is being spread around nowadays, which is just propaganda about our history. Naam.
Ahsan Allah ilaykum. So, ayah 30, the meaning of which is, and remember when your Rabb said to the angels, verily, I'm going to place generations after generations on earth. They said, will you place therein those who will make mischief therein and shed blood, while we glorify you with praises and thanks and sanctify you? He subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I know that.
نقدس لك, we sanctify you. This is a beautiful translation. نعم. تقديس is to sanctify. نعم.
Assalamu alaikum. The ayah continues. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I know that which you do not know. Ayah 31. And he taught Adam all the names. Then he showed them to the angels and said, tell me the names of these if you are truthful. Ayah 32. They said, glory be to you. We have no knowledge except what you have taught us. Verily, it is you, al-Alim al-Hakim, the all-knower, the all-wise. Ayah 33. He said, O Adam, inform them of their names. And when he had informed them of their names, he said, did I not tell you that I know the ghaib, unseen, and in the heavens and the earth, and I know what you reveal. What you reveal?
نعم. What you يعني make apparent, what you do not hide. This is what is meant.
And I know what you reveal and what you have been concealing. Ayah 33. And remember when we said to the angels, prostrate yourselves before Adam. And they prostrated except Iblis. He refused and was proud and was one of the disbelievers.
أيوة أبى واستكبر. يعني what is one of the reasons why he refused? Arrogance يا أخوة. أبى واستكبر. He refused and he was arrogant. Therefore, arrogance يا أخوة is a lethal trait. Arrogance is a destructive. And by lethal, I mean to you, it destroys you as a person. It does you harm in your life, in your religion, in your life, in the hereafter. Arrogance is a very bad trait, a very bad characteristic. It is from the characteristics of whom? Iblis. أبى واستكبر وكان من الكافرين. نعم. I'm not going to translate the ayat. Today I'm not going to translate the ayat. We're going to read from the explanation, and then inshallah Azza wa Jal, after we finish the meaning of the ayat, maybe in next class we will sit down and we will see each ayah what is the what goes along with what Imam As-Si'di said. And as I said last time, I welcome all the suggestions, all your translations, all your remarks, your criticism, whatever it is. Please do share with us, and your reminders as well. Now, go ahead.
أحسن الله إليكم. Shaykh Abdul Rahman rahimahullah says, this is the beginning of the passage that speaks of the superiority of Adam alayhi salam, the father of humankind. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to create him, he informed the angels of
the
that
superiority,
and said that he subhanahu wa ta'ala
نعم, the superiority. نعم. طيب, this is in one of the versions of the tafsir. In mine it says هذا شروع في ابتداء خلق آدم. He began regarding the creation, the beginning of the creation of Adam. These are two different versions. When they make the tahqiq, they have what? They have what the Shaykh As-Si'di has written, or they have what his students have written. So they make the tahqiq. So in one of the versions of the tahqiq, it said the merit of Adam. In another, they said the beginning of the creation of Adam. Now.
أحسن الله إليكم. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to create him, he informed the angels of that and said that he was going to place him on the earth to be followed by successive generations. The angels, peace be upon them. أحسن الله إليكم.
Allah مستخلفه في الأرض, he puts him as a successor on the earth. نعم.
أحسن الله إليكم. The angels, peace be upon them, said, will you place therein those who will make mischief therein by committing sin and shed blood? This is a specific matter that is mentioned after a general statement. So this shedding blood in brackets is a specific matter that is after a general statement in brackets making mischief. It is mentioned in order to highlight the seriousness of killing. This was based on what the angels thought, that the successive generations who were going to dwell on earth would do that. So they declared that the Creator was above creating such a being, and that it was not befitting for him to do so. They glorified him and declared that they were persistent in worshipping Allah in a manner that was free of any mischief. They said, whilst we glorify you with your praises, that is, we declare you to be above all shortcomings.
It seems like there's a delay on your internet. When I speak, you continue. طيب, لا بأس إن شاء الله. We need to go back. There is a mistranslation here. أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها بالمعاصي ويسفك الدماء وهذا تخصيص بعد تعميم لبيان شدة مفسدة القتل. This is a benefit that Imam As-Si'di has thrown our way, that when we that sometimes something is general, something general is mentioned, and then something that is specific. Meaning what? Meaning something that is already included in what has already been said. For example, corruption. What is a form of corruption? Shedding blood. And it has many other forms as well. So, for example, we say shedding blood, oppressing people, stealing money, fornication, rape, and so on. All of these are forms of what? Of corruption. طيب. He said, مَن يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا, those who cause corruption in it, وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء, and sheds blood, طيب, shedding blood is one type, one form of corruption. You already said corruption, so it is already included in that. Imam As-Si'di is saying, he said that which is general, and then he specified in order to show how grave this type of corruption is. Understand this, ya akhwa. This is the way of the Quran, the way of the Sunnah, and the way of the ulama. يعني الله عز وجل يذكر الشيء بشكل عام ثم يذكر نوعا خاصا، وذلك لبيان أهميته وشدة فساده، أو يعني لغرض آخر. طيب. So meaning what? Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran and in the Sunnah and in the way of how the ulama speak, they mention something because the ulama, they follow the example of the Quran and the Sunnah. That's why he mentions something general and then he specifies a certain type or a certain form that is already included in this generality in order to show how grave it is, how great it is, how terrible it is, and so on. So here it is to show how terrible is the corruption of shedding blood. طيب. And then he said, وهذا بحسب ظنهم أن الخليفة المجعول في الأرض سيحدث منه ذلك. And this is according to their thinking. And they think, according to what they think, that this successor that is going to be on earth is going to do that. فنزه الباري عن ذلك وعظمه. So they have made tanzih, glorified the Bari, the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala, without previous example. Al-Bari, they glorified him from that. They made tanzih of him. They glorified and exalted him from that. That's all what Imam As-Si'di said. Go back to the translation you were reading, Ibn Munir, and see what they said. They changed the meaning. Reread this part where they glorified him.
أحسن الله إليكم. They glorified him and declared that they were persistent in worshipping Allah in a manner that was free of any mischief, as they said,
before that.
whilst we glorify you and pray, whilst we glorify you. أحسن الله إليكم.
Before that, no.
This was based on what the angels thought that the successive generations. أحسن الله إليكم. This is a specific matter that is mentioned after a general statement. It is mentioned in order to highlight the seriousness of killing. This was based on what the angels thought that the successive generations who were going to dwell on earth would do that. So they declared that the Creator was above creating such a being and that it was not befitting for him to do so.
لا. This is now you are accusing the angels of something. Imam As-Si'di didn't say this. This is a serious issue here that must be addressed. You see how the wordings that they held him above to creating such things, and it's not befitting of him to. لا. He only said فنزه الباري عن ذلك وعظمه. They exalted, they glorified and exalted the Bari, yani the Creator, without a previous example, from that. That's all Imam As-Si'di said. So let's not give our interpretation now, and it might be a very bad interpretation at that as well. And this claim, yani we need to see the ulama. Did the ulama claim this? And if some of the ulama claimed this, did somebody reply to this as well? Yani we can't just have what one of the ulama said. There are some ulama, ya ikhwa, that have fell into the mistake of saying that bid'ah is of 5 types. Bid'ah is not of 5 types. But he is alim, he is the sultan of the ulama. We don't care he's the sultan or not the sultan. He made a mistake, and there is no apologies here. 5 types of bid'ah. There aren't 5 types of bid'ah. The messenger said, وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ, and every bid'ah is misguidance. You come and say that bid'ah are of 5 types, we say, la, you have fallen into a bid'ah. Even if it is a respected alim. You understand? Barakallahu fikum. And Shaykh Islam ibn Taymiyyah has replied to this. And others from the ulama, they have replied to this. يعني even with such matters, we have to do our research, do the work. Now,
Ahsan alaykum. They glorified him and declared that they were persistent in worshipping Allah in a manner that was free of any mischief, as they said, whilst we glorify you with your praises, that is, we declare you to be above all shortcomings, and proclaim your holiness. It may be understood as meaning, and we proclaim you alone to be holy. The phrase نُقَدِّسُ لَكَ may also be understood as meaning, we purify ourselves for your sake. That is, we purify ourselves by acquiring good characteristics such as loving, fearing, and glorifying Allah, and by ridding ourselves of bad characteristics. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the angels, I know concerning these successive generations that which you do not know, because you are speaking on the basis of speculation, whereas I know what is apparent and what is hidden, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I know that the good that will result from the creation of these successive generations is many times greater than any evil that may result from it. If there was nothing more involved in that but that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to choose from among them the prophets, the siddiqeen, the martyrs, and the righteous, and so that his signs might become manifest to his creation, and so that any act of worship might be done that would not be done without the creation of these successive generations, such as jihad and so on, and so that the hidden potentials of the sons of Adam, both good and evil, might be demonstrated by means of testing them, and so that his enemies might be distinguished from his close friends, and his supporters from his opponents, and so that the hidden evil in the heart of Iblis, that was the main part of his character, might be made manifest. These are all great reasons, some of which, let alone all of them, would have been sufficient reason for that. Because the statement of the angels was indicative of their feelings of superiority towards the successive generations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to place on earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to explain to them the superiority of Adam so that they might acknowledge his status and see the perfection of Allah's wisdom and knowledge. So he taught Adam the names of all things. And what these names apply to. In other words, he taught them words and meanings to the extent that he...
The Imam, rahimahullah ta'ala, is telling... There is a big delay, Akhi bin Munir, by the way. The Imam is telling us some benefits here that we need to pay attention to. The first one, وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ, not وَنُقَدِّسُكَ, وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ. He said, يحتمل أن معناها وَنُقَدِّسُكَ. The meaning could be نقدس لك أي نقدسك. One second. نقدسك يعني نقدس لك meaning نقدسك. فتكون اللام مفيدة للتخصيص والإخلاص. So the lam ونقدس لك, this lam, this L, the meaning of it would be that it is exclusive to Allah Azza wa Jal, sincerely to Allah Azza wa Jal. يعني يعني as if you say in English, we make taqdees for you. We make taqdees only for you. This lam نقدس لك, meaning we make taqdees, this sanctifying, only to you or only for you. And then the Imam said, and it could mean ونقدس لك, ونقدس لك, and we sanctify to you ourselves. Meaning that we show ourselves in the best of manners, like the love of Allah Azza wa Jal, fearing Him, exalting Him, glorifying Him, and we purify ourselves from the low or lowly manners. طيب. And then he spoke about something that is the question of many people. That is the question of many people. What is the wisdom? A lot of people ask this, and a lot of atheists, by the way, ask this. What is the wisdom behind this? Al-Imam As-Si'di said, if there isn't any wisdom other than what I will say, it would be sufficient. What I'm going to say is sufficient. Yani Imam As-Si'di is saying that there are other wisdoms, but if there were none other than this that I will say, it is sufficient or more than sufficient. What are these wisdoms? He said, أن الله تعالى أراد أن يجتبي منهم الأنبياء, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to choose from them the prophets, the Siddiqeen, the righteous, والشهداء, and the meritors, Islamic meritors, والصالحين, and those who are upright, ولتظهر آياته للخلق, and that his ayat would be made clear to his creation, and that ubudiyah would be established. That wouldn't be established without creation. And having this successor, this Khalifa, and so on. And also for this, what is inside of creation, to be shown and to be tested from good and evil. And the Hizb of Allah Azza wa Jal, the party of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would be distinguished from those that are against him subhanahu wa ta'ala. His allies and his enemies. And also, look, now the Shaykh is saying what? Is giving us another benefit. What is this benefit? He's telling us that he subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this with Iblis. This happened with Iblis. So another benefit, another wisdom, is what to show what is inside of Iblis himself. Because Iblis was created, Iblis, the father of jinn, ya akhwa, was created before mankind. So now the creation of this world and mankind and so on showed us what? Another wisdom, another benefit. Made what is inside of Iblis surface. From the evil that he held inside himself and his evil characteristic and attributes. So these are great wisdoms. Only some of them are sufficient. Only some of them are sufficient. We can add to this, ya ikhwan. We can add to this. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is known. And that we know him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that his names would be known and appreciated. And his attributes to be known and appreciated and to be manifested as well. All of these are wisdoms, ya ikhwan. Not just that. A lot of people only think about the punishment, ya ikhwan. When atheists come and start talking to you about this, I am adding to what the Shaykh is saying. They only think about what? They only think about punishment. And therefore, you hear them. Like Richard Dawkins and all of these people that are known for their atheism. They instantly start, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, interrogating Allah Azza wa Jalla. Why would he punish them? Why would he this? Like, what about the bliss to be enjoyed? If you go to the people of Jannah and you ask them, and you say, was this worth it? They will say yes, of course. 1,000,000 trillion infinity times yes, to be created and to enjoy all of these types of enjoyment that you will enjoy in heaven. Who is going to say, no, I didn't want to be created and I didn't want this, any of this to be in the end put somewhere where whatever I wish for is granted. Whatever I want, I am given. Actually, not just that. Better than what I want and yearn for is given. If you, ya ikhwa, if right now you own everything on the face of the earth. Imagine this. I want you to imagine this, ya ikhwa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us and you amongst those that enter into Jannah without hisab and iqab. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us and you amongst those who enter into Jannah, paradise, without requital and without punishment. Ameen. 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 You enter, if right now somebody comes to you and says, I'm asking all of you, and myself included, they tell you, here you go, everything on the face of the earth is yours. Everything. From, let's start with the most attractive to man, from women, from land, islands, castles, technology, food, drink, vehicles, all of this, ya akhwa. You're gonna tell me, you will tell me that you're not going to enjoy it? You're not gonna enjoy that? Seriously, we're speaking seriously. In terms of worldly things, then what about that which is like this, but even uncomparably better? Not just that, what about all of this without being sick? Without having depression or sadness or all the list that you know about the Jannah. You don't grow older, you don't die, you don't get sick, you don't feel pain. You are purified from urination and defecation and sweat and mucus. And also others are of the same, are upon the same purity. There is no sadness, there's no depression and feeling bad and grief. So you're going to enjoy all of these things and things that are incomparably better. And not just that, on top of all of that, you don't suffer from any of these things. Who's going to say this is not wisdom, and I didn't want this to happen, and this is not a wisdom, a benefit that is worth this test? Wallahi, ya akhwa, even in worldly things, if somebody tests you, a difficult test, and then he says, here you go, I'm going to pay you a 10,000, or I'm going to pay you 1,000,000, or I'm going to pay this sum of money monthly, you're going to say it's worth it. And this is dunya that is worthless. Then what about the hereafter, ya akhwa, that is truly worth everything? That the true, you see, worth itself, being worthy itself, is in the hereafter. For anything to be worthy and to be actually lasting and everlasting, it's in the hereafter. Aywa. Naam, ahsantum, barakallahu fikum, sister. Said, completely worth it. Naam, this is what I'm trying to say. It's completely worth it. So this is another wisdom that we add. And as the Shaykh said, if it is only for this, then it is sufficient. But what about the other side, showing the evil and being punished for it? This is also wisdom, ya akhi. And it is also worthy of it, to show the good and the bad, to show evil and goodness, and so on. Now, let's stop at ayah 31. We're going to continue with the explanation of ayah 31. I apologize for I am tired today. So let's move on to the book of Tawheed, and we'll have a small session in the book of Tawheed today. And tomorrow, inshallah, we will have, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, tomorrow we will have extensive sessions. We will start the first session at 10 a.m. Kuwait time. 10 a.m. Kuwait time, we will start tomorrow, inshallah. طيب, let's move on to the book of Tawheed.